A Build Hatch developed production.
Hello, I'm Aaron Kyle and welcome to another episode of Build Hatch. On this week's episode, I got to sit down with two very fun and entertaining ladies, Riss and Court from Bone and Blanc Interiors. As you will hear, this duo are full of laughs, and it's always nice to see people in business who are there because they are passionate and want to have fun every day at work. Riss and Court are great interior designers, so I encourage you to check out their work and reach out to them. Now let's get into it. Riss and Court from Bone and Blanc Interiors, welcome to Build Hatch.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Now, you guys are obviously really close friends.
Yep.
So how did you guys meet?
Well, we met, 2.5 years ago-ish?
Yep.
Yeah. We started working together for another company doing interior design, and then the friendship just grew from there, got stronger and stronger.
Yep.
So what sort of interior design were you doing?
We were doing project homes. But yeah, we just became best friends.
So designing like the interiors, like
Yeah.
colour schemes and colour palettes, things like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so we would do all of the internals for all of the houses that we did, all of the external colors. So we did like everything basically.
Now, Court, I'm picking up on a little accent there. Where's that accent
I'm
from?
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yes.
Get to say your name. Who are
No.
we speaking with, Courtney?
Aaron.
Oh, you did it good.
Aaron.
I've practiced.
Yeah.
Aaron.
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 Yeah, there you go.
Whereabouts did you both grow up?
Newcastle for me. Yep.
Well, obviously I'm from Canada. So I've been here 5 years now. But I'm from a place near Toronto, Ontario.
And what brought you to Newcastle?
A holiday. And I
Really?
was supposed to stay here for like 6 months and then I just never left.
Just fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
What do you love about it? Like the beaches?
Oh, just the lifestyle. It's so good. And I don't like the snow, so that's a big one for me. Why are you laughing?
Because you're Canadian, you hate the cold.
I hate it. I hate the cold.
Anyway.
You grew up in Newcastle,
I did in Minmai.
in Minmai,
Yeah.
which is basically towards Lake Macquarie.
Yeah, little country town, half an hour from here.
What was your childhood like?
Childhood was a lot of out in the bush. Growing up with the boys, I was the only girl in my age group. So primary school was like the 6 of us, like the whole way through in each year.
Really?
So tiny. Yeah. And then my best friend and myself, it was just like we were the only 2 girls. And it was a lot of, go out into the bush, build shacks out there and like ride the bikes and get chased by cows and yeah, pretty much.
Just a really laid back,
Yeah.
fun
Yep.
sort of childhood.
Yeah, and we got to build a lot of things too, which I think that's where it all started because I got to build the shacks with the boys out in the bush, and we, got all like dad's tools and rode them down on the bikes and had a lot of fun.
So you had a lot of practical experience.
Yes, very hands-on.
And what about yourself, Court?
I don't know. I probably had a very similar sort of childhood. But it's funny because everyone always asks me like, oh, how did you know that you wanted to be an interior designer? And when I was home last time, my mom had like all of these like arts and crafts that I did when I was younger. And there was like this thing from when I was in grade 2 and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was like interior designer. And my mom's like, oh, you always wanted to be an interior designer. And I was like, that's interesting. But my dad is a painter, so he does like commercial painting and stuff. So I always used to go on site with him and stuff like that. So I always just thought it was like so cool. But yeah, like, like when some people, they just have no idea what they want to do and they just go through uni and they do all of these things. But I don't know. I just always knew.
Oh, that's cute.
So I guess coming out of high school, did you both sort of aim for that particular field?
I actually did. I was 17 and I'm like, I'm going to go to TAFE and do like an interior design little intro course. And because growing up, we used to have Sunday drives to wherever mum and dad would pick. And if we're going past display homes, I'd always make them specifically pull over. And I was like, we have to go into the display homes. I want to go look around. I'll like run in and look at all the colours. And there's like a home video of me somewhere at mum and dad's, and it's like they filmed me walking into this house, and I was like, that's my room. I like this colour in this wall, and like blah, blah, blah. And I was like explaining everything in this house, and I was just like a kid.
So back in high school, what did you aim for sort of finishing school?
Design of some degree.
So through TAFE or university?
Yeah, I left did year 12, and then I went straight to TAFE and did interior design, like the intro course. And then after that, I didn't actually pursue it. I'm like, no, there's not enough work in Newcastle, and I freaked myself out. So then I went and did event management. So I've always kind of been creative, and then I did photography, and then a whole bunch of years later.
So I'm curious to know, how long ago was that when you thought there's not enough work?
13 years.
Yeah, so I think 13 years ago, things were very different with interior design. And we can safely say that, particularly I reckon over the last 5 years or more, you've seen this shift towards this independent profession of interior design.
Absolutely. I think, 13 years ago, there was no one really doing it, and it was more like on the TV or like Better Homes and Gardens and Backyard Blitz. And you'll just see people, need help from designers as such. And then as the years have progressed, obviously it's getting better.
Isn't it really intriguing how in today's world, in 2020, we have access to more information than ever, but yet years ago, interior design wasn't as prominent, whereas more people today have access to all of this information, yet your industry's flourishing, really.
I feel like it's one of those things where as well, before interior designers, only like people who had lots of money could hire interior designers. So it wasn't something that people, were really that interested in. But now, like, you hop onto Instagram and there's just interiors everywhere. So it's it's more available to literally anyone. And even like the content that people post on Instagram and stuff, like stuff that we post, people just literally love just looking at all of that stuff. And I think, it's just more of a readily available service to most people now, which is good. And then, like I said, because it is, everyone can hire an interior designer if they want to. It's just everywhere. But yeah, same thing. Like even shows like The Block and all of those sort of shows as well. I feel like people are just way more into it now.
Yeah, it's definitely become more mainstream, which is really great. And it's now almost commonplace to have a project where this separate independent interior designer is part of the design team.
Yeah.
Now, your business is called Bone and Blanc, which is an interior design company. So you guys started back in February. What were the early conversations like in meeting together and taking your idea from, say, concept and taking the plunge?
A lot of after work hours involved with that, staying up late. Because at the stage, so as we said, we met at work, which is a 9-to-5 role, being an interior designer. And then as the conversation started growing and I was like, Court, we need to do something. I was like, I think us as individuals and as designers and as friends, I was like, we need to do something together, and it's going to create this awesome platform for us. And then as I guess the start of the year happened, I'm like, cool, we're doing it. I was like, we just have to do it. And I'm the kind of person that just take the leap. So Court likes to be logical.
Responsible.
Okay, we'll go with that one. And then we started our Instagram page, I think, March? And it just kind of went from like 10 followers to like the next minute there's like 1,000. And I was like, oh, no way. I was like, Court, this, like, we're good. Like, we're really good. I was like, I know we're good, but people think we're also good. And I'm like, this is happening.
So back then you were like putting together finishes and products.
Yeah, but of an evening and on the weekends because we still had a 9-to-5 job.
But it was not necessarily for a client back then. That was for inspiration. And
yeah, we had clients. It just wasn't like official Bone and Blanc because you hadn't started the actual Bone and Blanc. So it was just Riss and Court doing their thing. And then we just started making more content against for Instagram, which then became inspiration, which we now have actually used a lot of those photos for clients, which is awesome. And then I think July, I was like, you know what? I'm quitting and I'm going to do it and taking the leap, and it's the best decision I've ever made. It's so much fun. I love going to work every day and being able to like, I don't even know, just not having to go to an actual workspace. Like, because at the moment we are working from home, We don't need a workspace to do what we're doing.
It's just morphed into like a perfect situation for
yeah,
you guys.
yeah, especially in the current climate as well. But being able to go meet with the clients when the client, has requested, there's no longer having to wait after 5 p.m. because we haven't finished work yet. So we can literally just go meet them any time of the day, and it's becoming
You can
more
meet
about
them with their lunch break
Yeah.
and go to their home.
Yeah,
And
we love it.
that's really important because you can tell from listening to you guys, and it's coming out in your energy that you guys sort of set out more for a purpose. Like it wasn't business oriented. You were in your current jobs and thought, we want to do this and have a lot of fun together. So that was sort of your DNA for your business, as opposed to being motivated by money.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't even think money came into play. It was just more so I want to be able to have time to go and do what I love doing, make the most of it.
And just be inspired to get up in the morning and do something that you love, as opposed to
Absolutely.
having to do it. I think part of the importance of being a good interior designer is having that relationship with what people can afford. Mm-hmm. So you guys, having previously worked for a master builder or project home builder, that's a critical ingredient for having that and knowing what people can afford, as opposed to just designing something that looks great, but there's no point because people can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
So those early days were, I think, looking back for you guys, are really critical for your success these days.
Absolutely. And I think it gave us a lot to take away from it and what we could learn, all the knowledge, the skills.
Your business is called Bone and Blanc. So where does that interesting name come from?
So Bone and Blanc, I guess, originated after months of thinking of concepts to do with white. So you put us together and we have very similar taste of colours, but individually we're two different designs. So we wanted to try and blend us both together. And the main, I guess, factor of our designs is have it like a white palette first and then building from that. So I'm the bone and she's the blanc. And it's just two different shades of white.
And when they come together, you complement each other.
Yes.
So did you have that concept for a while? Like, how long were you guys thinking about working together?
Well, Marissa was always like, let's open a business, let's do this. And I was like, oh no, I don't think so.
I was like, we're really good, we need to do it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm the more practical one. But I think we just started doing jobs on the side, from our other job. And then people kept asking us to do work for them. And then I was like, okay, let's open a business, see how it goes, that sort of thing. And we did work for ages without a proper name or an Instagram or literally anything. We had nothing. People were just asking us to do work for them. And then
So back then it was just wrist and court.
Yeah,
pretty much. And then I was like, okay, we need a name. And it was probably a month or 2 months. And we stupidest name. So I was like, this is not it. But I think the main thing is we wanted it to reflect both of us and our personalities and what the business actually is. And that was the hardest part. And even now, everyone's like, what does Bone and Blanc mean? And we have a whole spiel. I just tell them the whole thing and they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. But yeah, and I feel like it's just simple as well. And our designs are quite simple. So I don't know. I feel like it literally is just the perfect name for us.
Yeah, now I just go, Bone and Blanc, just look at us and you can tell.
So if I wanted to engage your services, what would a typical brief look like? Is there such thing as a typical brief with your business, or is it?
I feel like there's not.
variable?
Every job is so different, so we just approach it on who the client is and what they're actually after. So some people literally will come to us and it's the smallest things that they need from us, and some people will come to us and they want to do a full new build. So it's from start to finish. So it really is dependent on what the clients actually want and where we kind of go from there. So we just take it case by case at the moment.
So it could be a complete fit out of a house or colour scheme, complementing the architects, or it could be just something as simple as a piece of furniture.
Yeah, at the moment we have a lot of clients coming to us asking, what furniture's going to look good in this room, or can you come and just over and look at the house, and we just want to look at the living room, and we're like, yeah, no worries, go over and do a consult and mood board later and it's done.
Do you ever get asked to come in and help improve a space for, saying, adding value to a property that's going to be sold, or is it more for people that are living there and want something to suit their actual livable needs?
I think it's more livable needs. I don't think we've done anyone that wants to sell yet.
No.
No.
No, most of the jobs that we do are for people's homes.
What sort of work are we talking about exactly?
Well, I guess with Bone and Blanc now, as we've progressed, it'd be more like renovations. So clients coming to us, they're renovating the homes, they need help selecting like what colours, the floor plans, kitchen designs, pretty much everything, like what tiles, what stone. Then it comes to the furniture, we get to style it, and that's a lot of fun. Yep.
I think that's a good thing, because clearly with your business, people are coming to you because they want something that they care about for their, maybe not long-term future, but their foreseeable future in how they live in that space and how they interact with that space.
Absolutely, and we're creating people's dream homes in the end too. Like, that's the end goal, to make sure you walk in and you feel as though it's a home rather than just a house.
I was looking at your Instagram recently, and I noticed you guys have a very clever and strategic way of how you put together your colours and finishes. It's like
It's
white.
visually pleasing.
It's like is it a
Aesthetically
template?
pleasing.
No, I think that we, like, because we kind of share who posts on Instagram and stuff, but we have the same sort of style. And I think we just sort of follow that through. And obviously our color schemes for most of our projects are all the same, because we find that clients that come to us want.
So they want your signature style, if
Yeah.
you like.
Yeah. It's very rare that we get clients that come to us and it's like random, design style that we don't usually do. I think because most people go on our Instagram and they're like, oh, that's exactly what I want. And then that's why they contact us. So it's sort of a niche sort of style that people actually like that we do.
That's really important, because that allows you to kind of lead, and you're actually managing up. And I talk about it all the time on the podcast, because if you want to distinguish yourself from the crowd, then you need to get ahead of the pack and be different. And that way you're having people coming to you and saying, I already know what I want. I want this project that you've already worked on, or this is exactly what I need for my space or my home, whatever it might be.
Yeah, and we get so many people that do that. They're like, we want this that you've already done. Like, we want it to look exactly like that, which is easy for us. But obviously if people are coming to us and they like our style, then it's easier for us to vibe with them and to, get the best look out of what they actually want. We're not fighting with styles and stuff like that. So,
do you have like a typical brief? Like, is it like a bathroom or kitchen, or is it a whole house?
Getting a lot of bathrooms. A lot of bathroom renovations at the moment are coming through.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's varied depending on what people want. We do a lot of bathrooms. We have a couple of like big renos at the moment that are like everything. But yeah, I would say a lot of bathrooms at the moment.
If you could distinguish yourself from, say, other interior designers, what do you do to sort of work in your market? Like, do you have a style or something that you do that you guys pride yourselves on that's different? Or
our brand and obviously our style is very evident in our Instagram and in our website and stuff like that. But I think what makes our brand is us. Like, we're very like relaxed and that sort of thing, and we just laugh all the time, and we do the same thing with our clients and stuff like that. And because of that, I think we get a lot of referrals and stuff like that. But I think that's like our brand. Like, people know us as Court and Riss.
So that's your personality, really,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Pretty much.
or it's part of your brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are our brand.
And I think that's what sets us apart. Like, I don't know, for me, if I'm looking for a service or something like that, I want something that's like genuine and real, which I think that we are.
I like that. I like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Agreed.
So how do you work? Like, what's the process of people coming to you and saying, we want you to interior design our home? What's involved?
Well, we start with a consult, if possible. Obviously, during the current situation, we couldn't always do the consult in the last couple of months.
How did that work? How did you find the COVID thing? And
Just online, really. It was more, actually, during that period, it wasn't a lot of renovations anyway. It was just more so furniture styling. So the client would send photos of the room to us and would style like via the photos, and just send back like a mood board to help with that, really. But it was a lot of fun. We had clients coming from Western Australia and Adelaide, and all during that period, it was nuts.
so the online experience, it didn't impact you guys, like the chemistry was still good and you're able to just continue on with your business as normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think a big thing, a part of like building a connection is like, you know, there's Zoom, there's FaceTime, there's all these different sort of things that you can actually use as tools at the moment. And then, we would just be like, send us measurements, send us pictures, send us anything that you think is relevant to what you want. And it was so easy.
And that comes back to, I guess, your business is a visual business. So it's about putting together color schemes and finishes and all these different color palettes and putting it all together. And so you can, because you have a visual based business, you can easily do that online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then what happens then? You meet with your client, whether it's online or in person, and then you put together like is it an online image or a couple of different images, or do you do Pinterest to start off with? What do you do?
So typically we would go out for a consult, figure out what they want, what they're actually after, what kind of services they actually need from us. And then we would send them like a formal quotation. And then obviously if they're happy to work with us, then we would get into the finer details, like, you know, drawing inspiration of what they actually want. Depending on what the project is, you know, sourcing tiles and materials and all of that kind of stuff. But I think usually we would start with a mood board just to be like, make sure we're on the same page and say, is this what you want? As soon as they say yes, and then that's when we actually start with that.
And is the mood board purely electronic, like comes through by email or Instagram?
Yeah, however they've contacted us, we'll send it back through. But usually it's email just because it stays good quality of an image.
Yes, that's very important with your business.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, you know, with the mood boards and stuff as well, most people that we deal with are not visual people. So that just helps them figure out what everything is going to look like together. Because we can talk about, you know, things for days and they have no idea what we're talking about. So to actually put it together for them to see it, most people are like, oh, yes, that's exactly what I want. But I think that's like the easiest thing that we do.
The mood boards.
Yeah.
And sample boards. I love making a good sample board.
Is the sample board purely for physical clients that you can meet with?
Yeah, definitely. So if the mood board comes into play and they're like, yep, love the mood board, I would actually go source the tiles, for example, or the timber flooring, just so they can see the colours in person. Obviously, when things are digital, colour can change slightly. That's why I think it's always important to have a sample board as well. That way you can take the samples to the client's house, have the natural light coming through so you can make sure the shade of white is the right one, for example.
And you guys are really good at sourcing products. So if a client says, this is my budget, you're able to figure that out and kind of work in with them and their budget because you have that established relationship with your contacts, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Like we'll shop around 2 different suppliers to make sure like it's the right product, the right price. Obviously every client's going to have their individual budget too, which we need to work within. And I think it's important for us as the designers to make the process quite simple for them so they can literally do nothing and we'll go get everything for them.
Is there like an optimum stage as a client where they should get into contact with you? Like as obvious as it sounds, but if they're just thinking of, say, a bathroom renovation, you should be the first point of contact to talk to about finishes and prices and stuff like that?
I always think the very beginning of any project because there's so many times when people contact us when they're so far down the track and they're like, this is what we want to do. And I'm like, well, first of all, the floor plan doesn't work. This doesn't work, that sort of thing. So it's probably more beneficial to get us in at the very beginning so then we can literally be working from the very start to finish because floor plans and stuff like, for example, with a bathroom reno, we would do the full floor plan and everything for them, plus all the finishes, plus all the styling, so we can literally go from start to finish. Whereas if people get us in the middle, then everything doesn't gel correctly. It's like you're sort of trying to make things work in there when you could have had us from the beginning and it would have been great.
I like that you're also able to work in with the trades and the clients as well. So you can actually work in with the trades and help, say, work with a good tiler or the waterproofers or even the painters and tilers.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a full trades list that we use as well. So same thing, when people get us from the beginning, we can give them the full service. But yeah, we have all of our trades that we use and we like. Yeah.
Do you have like a signature type of finish or colour that you're sort of working with now and really love?
We're vibing a lot of pink at the moment.
Pinks are in?
Yeah, well, for us anyway.
Pink, terracotta.
Warm, earthy tones.
And what about finishes? Like, is there like a type of finish that you love and you
I
always like to
love
use?
a good matte finish in the kitchen on the cupboards. That'd be my favourite. No fingerprints.
Nothing over the top, just nice and simple.
Very simple, but quite elegant.
Now, clearly you guys are great friends and you have a lot of fun. Do you ever have a bad day?
I think because we're friends, I know when Riss is having a bad day, and I know when I need to back off. And it probably goes the same way.
Vice versa.
And I know, like, if she's having a bad day, then I need to do this or I need to do that to sort of compensate, because we all have bad days.
Being good friends, like, do you ever have honest conversations? Say, I'm not having a good day, or I didn't like how that went, or
Oh, absolutely. But we always communicate everything.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way to be. Otherwise, if we weren't communicating, it would be disastrous.
Can you imagine?
well, it's really good. Hey, you're constantly looking at each other for that reassurance, or you're definitely aligned as one brand, and it comes out in your personality.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have Courtney.
I think that's really obvious, just sitting here and talking to you, that you're definitely a combination.
Yeah, they're like two peas in the pod.
Exactly.
Insert cute face.
Now, tell me about your feature project, Mayf Springs.
Mayf Springs. It's going to be amazing.
Now, how did that project pan out? The clients, they approached you.
Yes.
And they were looking for this bit of extra flair or oomph with their project, and they approached you to get involved.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
Well, Mayf Springs is a full renovation / extension of their house. So the client is building their dream home. So they're going to, they're soon to be married and then have kids and everything like that. So they want to build their dream family home. Mayf Springs, I should point out, comes from a combination of their style. So that's why we called it. So it's like a Palm Springs meets Joshua Treehouse, if anyone knows on Instagram. And obviously it's in Mayfield, so Mayf Springs. So the colours that we kind of went with, it's all about like the earth tones and the highlight of pink. So Mayf Springs is Dom and Kate's house, and their little signature colour is actually pink as well, because their front doors is really nice shade of cute pink. So that when they approached us, they're like, all right, Riss, we need interior design, we need a builder, we need everything. And I was like, amazing, we have it all.
That's a perfect brief for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
That people reach out, they approach you and say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Because what people are tending to want to see is like a visual end product. Like they want to be able to visually see how a thing's going to work, how the finish is going to look. Let's talk to you guys first and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a perfect brief.
Yeah. And I think as well, like the clients sometimes will have an idea of what they want, or they tell us that they don't have an idea, but they actually do. Because if they show us their Pinterest board that they've all the photos they've saved, they have a clear example of what their style is. And then it just takes us to kind of talk to them about it and go, okay, cool. So, X, Y, and Z is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to bring it to life.
So Mayf Springs, it went pretty wild on your Instagram.
Oh, it's going nuts.
So why is that? How did that happen?
I think it's the combination of the colours, the textures, I think it's the vibrance. Every photo we post, it's like outstanding. Everyone's like commenting and sharing it. And I was scrolling through Instagram and someone had posted it, and I was like, oh my God, Connie, that's our photo. Someone's posted our photo. And I was like, Bone and Blanc's like commented on it. And then she goes, oh, so sorry, I didn't tag you. And I'm like, oh, well, we're going.
So your brief for that job was complete package, from go to woe, become involved, pick out the finishes, and then have some input into the client selecting a builder and holding their hand throughout the whole job.
Yeah, pretty much. So construction actually will be starting in a couple of weeks, and we've got everything pretty much ready to go.
And what's the standout of that project besides the colours and finishes?
I'm vibing the ensuite when that gets done. Mm-hmm.
So describe the ensuite. What's spectacular about it that you love?
Just double head shower. You walk through the centre of 2 fixed panels of glass, feature tiling. There's like a nib wall behind in the shower as well. So we call it a shower shelf, but so many different trades have so many different names for it. But I think that's going to be a really big standout feature just with the tiling that we've chosen on there as well. So we're doing like a bit of a terrazzo with, it's like a pinky brown subway tile behind it and concrete peak basins. brass tapware.
So the nib wall's more like a platform, like a metre high or something.
Yeah, metre high, 100 mil thick, wide, deep. What's the word? We'll go with that again. Hold up.
All of the above. That's the thing with your line of work. It doesn't matter as long as people can visualize it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, like visualize your goal. That's what you want.
So that's an exciting project to look forward to. What else is coming up in future for Bone and Blanc?
At the moment, I think because of COVID, a lot of people are like sitting at home and they're like, oh, I really want to change this up. So like a lot of styling projects and stuff like that, which is fun.
Now, working in interior design, how do you continue to be inspired and not do the same thing and keep finding what works and what people need?
I think as designers, like we're constantly looking at new things and there's always so many new trends and stuff that are coming out. And we definitely draw a lot of inspiration from other designers and stuff as well. So we're constantly on Instagram, constantly looking at new products and stuff like that. So I think design's always evolving, but I think as designers, like you just kind of have to stay on top of the trends. Yeah. Otherwise, you're not really relevant in the market, to be honest. But yeah, we're just constantly looking at new things. There's always new stuff coming out. And when new stuff comes out, we're like, oh my God, we need to use that. We need to do this.
Where can we put it?
Yes. Yeah, we're always like that.
I also think though, like, because each client is different, they may like the same style because they're wanting to use us as a designer. However, everyone's going to have the individual taste as well. So we can tweak certain styles a million times because the client's so different.
The key with your role is influencing. And I think the journey would be quite fun where you have a client who's hell-bent on a particular product or a finish. You know you don't want to use it. You know that your idea is better. So you're able to influence that client to sort of go around in circles to be able to choose your product. I reckon that would be the most enjoyable part.
Yeah, I feel like I'm good at that.
Yeah, we're really honest.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I always feel like, you know, if you're confident as a designer, then most clients are happy for you to do basically whatever you want. They're going to trust you. If you say something's going to look good, then they know that you mean that. Yeah, I mean, you get the rare client where they're like, no, we want to do this, we want to do that. And I mean, sometimes clients and, you know, us, you just don't gel. So I don't know, it's one of those things. Most of our clients were fine and we can kind of convince them to do what they should be doing. But you get the stubborn ones. But I feel like if they trust us as designers, then they're always happy for us to do, you know, what we recommend.
And definitely having faith and confidence in knowing your capabilities, and that's why your business is so good. In people can come to you who are lacking that inspiration or don't know how different products are going to meet. And I think that's why with renovations, that's where your market's most prominent, because I guess with a new build, you have people that are wanting to design something and it starts off with maybe an extension or an architect marking up some plans, whereas if you have an existing space, that's where your product and your service comes into market.
You're nodding. Agreed.
So how do you see the future for Bone and Blanc moving forward?
Ooh, international.
I like that. That's good. Aim high.
I mean it. I was like, we laugh, but I mean it. I'm serious.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like going back to when we started, like it's one of those things where we're like, yeah, let's just do it. Like, let's see where it goes. And I feel like it's just like exploded because it's gone so well so far. Obviously, we want to get big and we want everyone in Newcastle to know who we are. For us, it's really important to just keep who we are as designers. As that happens, we're both so grateful that it's just like exploded. And everyone, like, we will go out in public and they'll be like, oh, are you Bone and Blanc? Like, I follow you on Instagram. Like, literally all the time.
Recognition.
Yes.
The first time it happened, I was like in shock. I was in Adairs. The lady was like, oh, you styled this house? Oh my God, are you from Bone and Blanc? And I was like, Connie, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I think that it's cool that we can like actually inspire people, because I mean, I go on Instagram and I like follow so many people and I'm like, oh, they're so cool. Like, you know, they post such good stuff. Like, they're such good designers. But like, people say that stuff to us now. So it's pretty cool.
How awesome.
And that would be a really proud moment, having
It
that
is.
recognition. And
It's
I think
definitely a high five moment.
For sure. And people striving for that recognition from your peers, from clients, from builders, from everyone really.
Yep. And I think with every little bit of marketing that you do, you can see our personality in it as well, which is our selling point really. Bone and Blanc is us.
Yeah.
End of the day, you're going to meet us, you're going to love us, then we design.
So you're based in Beachside, Merewether.
Yes.
Whereabouts do you sort of travel for your business? Like, if people are listening to this and they want you involved in their project, there's really no restriction on location, really. Like you said before,
Not at all.
You can work in Western Australia, Canada,
Absolutely.
the other side of the world.
Look, if we can go to Byron Bay if the client really wants to. Like, that's totally fine. I would never say no.
Or Noosa.
Oh, let's go to Cairns. The list goes on. I mean, if it wasn't the current situation, I'd go overseas for any client too. But yeah, we can. There's no limitations to like where we can go. So even though we're in Merewether at the moment, we can go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we probably find most of our following is in this general
Yeah.
area. We do a lot of like Merewether and around here, the Bay, stuff like that. But we do have a lot of clients who are interstate, which obviously we just do online consultations and stuff like that. But yeah, we're pretty open.
Now, shout out to Dave from Convoy in Merewether, who has allowed us to host this podcast inside his cafe. So if anyone's travelling past Merewether and wants to call in for a Newcastle's best coffee, I highly recommend it.
Come on in. We love it here. We're here all the time.
Okay, Riss Court from Bone and Blanc, thank you for coming on to Build Hatch. It's been a lot of fun hearing your story. So I wish you all the best. And for anyone listening to this who wants to get into contact with you, what are the obvious ways of going about it?
On our Instagram, email, website, call, anything.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And get these guys involved early on with your project.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Don't
from
leave it too
the
late.
start.
The star.
Very early.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
guys.
It was a blast.
Well, that was another Build Hatch episode with interior designers Riss Court from Bone and Blanc Interiors. As usual, please check out our Instagram page where you'll be able to learn more about our guests and some of the features of their work that we talk about. Have a great week, and you'll hear me again on the airwaves next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Build Hatch.
You have experienced a Build Hatch developed production.